How are you coping with the changes in your routine? The routine of getting up and thinking about your job, whether your boss is going to be in a good mood or not, thinking about the whole thing of the day, what you got to get done. After work, you have to drop the kids off, one at soccer practice, the other at dance rehearsal. Then while they're there, you got to run to the store and pick up a few things and then get back to pick them up and get home and have dinner. Most of our routines have changed. Some, people are working from home now, while others are not working at all. Those that are not working are even concerned about how they're going to pay their bills. They're even wondering about, am I going to have a job to go back to? Here we are with schools being closed and kids, their routines have changed. They don't have practice, they don't have rehearsals to go to. And both the kids and the adults are pretty much cut off from any physical contact with their friends. Some of the kids are even driving their parents nuts out of sheer boredom. The grocery stores have become a place of a madhouse and of panic buying, selfish people. Man, what a mess we're in. So how are you handling this disruption in your routine? Are you uneasy, wondering about what's going to happen next? Are you scared? Are you scared that someone, maybe even you, someone you love, is going to contact the coronavirus? Folks, I know we're living in uncertain times, but we're not the only generation that went through tough times. The Apostle Paul, he lived through many tough times as well. If you read about his life, he was in prison, he was beaten with rods, he was stoned and left for dead, he was shipwrecked. Matter of fact, he drifted even for a couple of days in wide open seas. He was hunted like an animal. He went without food. He even lived with no shelter at times, with bearing the nature's elements. But you know what he writes to the Philippian Christians? He says, I know what it is to be in need. I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. Well, what is this secret that Paul learned? Well, the word learned here means initiated into the secret. Now, this word was used by pagan religions with reference to their inner secrets. Through trials and testing, Paul was initiated in the wonderful secret of contentment in spite of his situation. Paul shares this secret when he continues to write to the Philippian people. He said, I can do all things through him who gives me strength. It was the power of Christ within him, as we know as the Holy Spirit, that gave him spiritual contentment. Folks, each born-again believer has this same secret power dwelling within them. Each believer needs to do what Paul did and learn to rely on the Holy Spirit to help them find that contentment, that inner peace in midst of trouble. Folks, all nature depends on hidden resources. Great trees are depending upon their roots. Their roots go deep into the earth to draw up water and minerals. The rivers are even made by snow-capped mountains. But the most important part of a tree is that root system, and you cannot see that root system. And the most important part of a Jesus follower's life is the part that only God can see. Unless we draw on the deep resources of God by faith, we'll fail against the pressures of life. Paul depended on the indwelling power of Christ at work in his life, where he said, I can do through Christ. That was Paul's motto, and it can be our motto too. Choose to rely on the secret power within you to find contentment.